to challenge the American Simon Brown for the IBF version. And Brown is a man tipped as a big future threat to Honeyghan. There's most fascinating at world title level, no matter what world title is being contested. Next weekend, Britain's Lloyd Honeyghan defends his WBC version on the same Atlantic City bill as Marlon Starling defends his WBA title. But one man they should both be concerned about is the powerful IBF champion Simon Brown, a Jamaican based in the United States, who last week was set to defend his title against Jorge Vaca. Now, Vaca from Mexico, you may remember, the man who beat Honeyghan before Lloyd Honeyghan got his revenge and his title back. So Brown against Vaca was set to be an explosive confrontation. It took place in Kingston, Jamaica. Jim Neely is the commentator.
It's very, very warm in Kingston, Jamaica for this world welterweight title fight. And that's an indication of just what the temperature is like. It's well up into the 90s, and that's hot even by Jamaican standards. There's the man considered perhaps a little bit lucky to be getting another crack at a world title, Jorge Vaca from Mexico. But the applause for the crowd reserved almost exclusively for this man, Simon Brown, born here in Jamaica, but boxing now out of Washington, D.C. The referee for this contest, Rudy Battle from New Jersey, issuing instructions, but the pair of them don't really need to be told about the task ahead of them. Not much difference between the two, just 4 years in terms of age. Vaca 3/4 of a pound heavier and enjoying, well, a couple of inches in terms of reach. Scheduled for 15 rounds, the IBF World Welterweight Championship title at stake. The holder and those bright yellow trunks, Simon Brown, based in Washington, D.C. now. Just one blemish on his record, 26 fights and only one defeat. And that was to Marlon Starling, who, like Lloyd Honeyghan, will be fighting in Atlantic City at the end of this month for a world title. Vaca, the man who caused a major sensation last autumn when he defeated Lloyd Honeyghan for the WBC title, but was crushed in no uncertain terms by Lloyd Honeyghan in the rematch in March. Vaca, a great veteran of Mexican boxing, defended his Mexican welterweight title more than a dozen times. Brown has been, well, steadily making his way through the welterweight ranks since he turned pro in 1982 as a teenager. And he hasn't been all that terribly active in recent years, but he's very, very quick indeed. Vaca strong, durable, but one wonders just how much the punishment meted out by Lloyd Honeyghan in Wembley in March took out of him. Brown has stopped all but 4 of his opponents inside the distance. And he's a very strong puncher with both hands. Having won the IBF version of the World Welterweight title a couple of months ago, Brown's sights are set very firmly on becoming undisputed champion. But to do that, he's got to take on, at some stage, either or perhaps both Marlon Starling and Lloyd Honeyghan, and they'll be in action in Atlantic City later this month. Jorge Vaca, strong and durable, but not terribly accurate in this, the opening round. Rudy Battle splits them up. Yes, an example of just how fast Brown is, varying the shots from head to body and back to the body again. He does punch well to the ribs. Under a half a minute. And Brown just stepping up the pace. Yes, he caught Vaca with a right and a left, and Vaca down in the opening round. Well, he's dazed and he's up, and he'll have to take an 8 count, and it may just have come a little bit late in the round for Brown to press home the advantage, but the advantage very much has slipped away from Jorge Vaca. Vaca back in his corner. Well, he looks a little bit shaken, but otherwise not too badly off in terms of wear and tear. But anxious moments indeed in the Vaca corner. He lasted just 3 rounds against Lloyd Hannigan in March. And at the end of the first here in Kingston's National Stadium, in almost 100 degrees of heat, he took a left and then a very crisp right hand, and down he went. Well, here it is again. And he just stepped back from that little clinch and forgot about the basic rules and left himself wide open, and Simon Brown didn't have to be asked twice. So a sensation here. Brown, the calmest and coolest person in this heat. Vaca says he's okay, wants to get on with it. And out they come for the second, and everybody, I think, has got the feeling that this will go nowhere near the scheduled 15. So Brown now moving very economically and getting through with considerable accuracy. Brown fairly happy to let Vaca come to him. Oh, that looked like a delayed action one, and Vaca, nice crisp, searing, slicing right hand, and Vaca down for the second time, and the first in this, the second round. Well, Brown thinks he's got it won. Rudy Battle gives him the 8 count, lets him continue, and Brown completely incensed. Well, what a brave man is Vaca. Oh, he's got him again. The left this time. That's the second time in this round. And the referee looking into the eyes of Jorge Vaca, and they both must be wondering how much further this can go. Well, Simon Brown really handing out a sharp object lesson in destructive boxing, and he's trying to finish it. And he's got him again. That's the third time. Now surely Rudy Battle is going to step in and say that this very, very gallant former world champion has had quite enough. There's no ruling that after 3 knockdowns the fight has got to be stopped. But I think a British referee might be looking very carefully at Jorge Vaca and contemplating ending this. Because Brown now, well, he's a little wild because he's so keen to finish it. No left from Vaca. Well, you've got to admire the courage of Jorge Vaca. Well, can't believe Vaca's still on his feet and coming forward. And Brown just trying to open him up with uppercuts. Well, Vaca now looking very, very ring-weary indeed, and that's crunching left from Brown into the ribs. Oh, he's got him again, and that's the 4th time. That's the 4th time in the second round, and Vaca taking even more punishment than he did from Lloyd Hannigan in Wembley in March. He's bleeding very badly from the nose. The referee must be thinking quite seriously about stopping this. Under 15 seconds of the round, and will Vaca survive it? Well, they stopped that early, I think, by everybody's watch. There was 6 or 7 seconds to go, and that bell, which nobody seemed to hear really, couldn't have come too quickly for this man, Jorge Vaca. He's done Mexican boxing proud over the years, but while he's shaking his head and indicating that he is fit enough and willing to continue, really the amount of punishment he took in that second round was quite unbelievable. That was a delightfully crisp right hand from Simon Brown, and I doubt very much if anybody thought Vaca would get up. There it is again. This is the second knockdown. Vaca staggered by the left to the ribs, and Brown the right and left, and another little right again, and the gallant Vaca went down. Yes, he's glancing over towards Simon Brown's corner, as well he might. Rudy Battle, the referee, a bit concerned about the amount of water on Vaca. Look at the amount of grease on the face of Simon Brown. He looks as if he's got a grey beard. He looks about 30 or 40 years older than his 23 years. But he's boxed with composure, assurance, and no little destructive ability, Simon Brown. Confirmation that this is due to go 15. I can't see it. And Vaca just moved out of the way of that left hand, which would have meant yet another knockdown. 1 in the first, 4 in the second. So Brown with a point to prove to Messrs Starling and Hunnigan that he, as he has been claiming, is the best man at 10 stone 7 in the world at the moment, and a little touch of arrogance there from Brown. Jorge Vaca, the challenger and former champion, albeit for 6 months. And Simon Brown making his first defense, and an impressive defense it is. And the left again getting through, and Vaca's guard dropping. The timing of Jorge Vaca has just gone off, and Brown is happy enough to stand and let him punch himself out. Halfway through the third. Some much needed cold drinks on the way past the ring. Both of these gentlemen will welcome that eventually, and it mightn't be too far away. Oh, you can feel those ribs rattle as Brown gets the punches home, and the right put him down. And I don't think Vaca is going to be allowed to take any more. The gum shield has come out, and it's all over in the third. Jorge Vaca did his best. The Jamaican crowd celebrate the victory of their man, Simon Brown, who retains his title in most convincing style indeed. A third round stoppage, and Simon Brown very, very impressive in front of his home crowd. And they all have appreciated that performance from the Jamaican, now based in Washington. And the message seems to be, watch out, Messrs Starling and Hunnigan. And there's the finish again, and Vaca really turned away. He knew he had enough. His eye was badly cut. The body punches left him open, and he'd no answer. A successful first defense then for Simon Brown, and a performance that will certainly have impressed everybody, especially Marlon Starling and Lloyd Hunnigan.
The brave Vaca was okay, but Brown a man for Hunnigan to fear, and indeed Marlon Starling as well. As you heard, they fight on the same bill at Atlantic City next Friday night. Starling defending his WBA title against Thomas Molinares of Colombia. Hunnigan defending his WBC title against Young Kil Chang of Korea. But Simon Brown, the fearsome figure, surely on the horizon for one of them.